So back in 2020 during lockdown, like a lot of people, I started doing a bit of walking. I've always been a bit of a walker, but it was just getting out and doing exercise an hour a day. And I remember there was one particular day and it was quite warm. And I was walking back up the hill to my house and talking to my daughter, and I was getting really out of breath walking back up that hill. And I was uncomfortable as well. It was quite warm, and I thought, this is getting ridiculous now. I've only been out for an hour's walk, and I hadn't stepped on the scales for quite a long time. So I came back and I thought, right, now it's time to take this in hand. So I got on the scales and I was really shocked. I've always had a Fitbit and I've had the app, and I just tipped into the obese category, which is a bit of a shock, being 5'2" and then finding out that I was almost 12 stone. So at that time, because we were in lockdown, I had a lot more time. I did take myself in hand. I started doing a lot more exercise, just making sure I was getting 10,000 steps in a day, like people tell you to. And I started cooking, so I've never been a person to cook. But, having more time with lockdown, I was able to start cooking. So I did pretty all right. I started in September 20. And by the time I got through to April, May 21, I had actually managed to lose 30 pounds. So, which I thought was pretty good to say that I was 48, and people seem to think you get to, that time of your life as a woman when you're hitting the menopause that you can't actually lose weight. And I was pretty happy with where I got to. Wasn't quite the goal that I wanted, but I felt like I looked okay. But it was quite a struggle, and keeping that up when you actually were just making sure you weren't eating more than you needed to was quite difficult. And some of the coping mechanisms was kind of going to bed really early, so I didn't eat anymore. But yeah, it was good, and I managed to keep it off for quite a while. But then when it came to, when I got busy again at work, we all started commuting back to work. So from April, May time right through to August, September time, I did keep my weight pretty much steady. It was wavering right on that borderline of acceptable into being overweight, but every time it went into overweight, I just managed to creep it back down again. And then I got really, really busy at work. I was back to buying the meals at lunchtime, back to, things from the freezer for my dinners. And I knew my clothes were getting tighter again. And I needed to do something about it, but I just didn't go back on the scales. So that's really where I got to. And I was so frustrated with myself because it had taken such a long time to get to where I was comfortable, to then start going back the other way. And during that time, I'd also tried to do a bit of running as well, but I went a little bit hard and fast at it. And that was something that I wanted to get back to, because the first time I did it for 2 months, made myself ill and gave up. So I really wanted to get back to the weight where I thought I was happy and to start running again. So that's where I got to on my own. So once I got past that period where I knew things were starting to go wrong again, I got myself down to a borderline size 10. I'm from a size 16, so I've gone a long way on my own. But I was now starting to creep into the 12s, and the 10s weren't comfortable at all anymore, and the size 12 clothes was starting to just creep into a size 14. And I thought, I've really got to do something about this. And one of the things that I'd read about the menopause, about exercise and everything, the things that make it easier, was also that you should do some weight training, which is something I don't really... I'm a bit scared about going to the gym and the people involved in a gym. So I thought, and I must have been thinking about 3 or 4 months about getting someone that could help me go to the gym. And so really it was, I wanted to get a coach for accountability, so that it made sure I stuck to what I was doing, and also to show me how I could start being stronger going through, what's going to be quite a difficult time, I thought. I suppose then getting a coach, it was to help make it stick this time. When I look back, I've had a Fitbit for 6 years, and I can see the graph that just goes up and down, where you lose weight and you gain it again, and then you go through, and every time it's painful, and you just feel like you're going backwards. So it was it was making sure that it was going to be a permanent change to the way that I was living, so that I didn't have to go through the pain every 2 years, stop using the scale and then start all over again. There was my concern about working with someone to help me get to my goals was I needed to be able to get on with them. And quite often I found people that were into fitness who were quite intimidating. So it was just that meeting at a networking event, and I thought, actually, I can relate to these people who are just really approachable, really friendly. And so I thought I'd give them a call and see whether they can help me with what I wanted to do. So what I like about Unstoppabl coaching is the fact that I can do it from home. So my commute to my office is an hour each way, and it's a full-time, I'm a director of our practice, so it's not a 9-to-5 job. So it does mean I can just get up and do the work that I need to do. We always talk about what time I've got to fit in, but actually this is now takes priority for part of my day, so I make sure that I've got the time to do it. But it means I just get up, I do my exercise, and it can all fit around my life. And it's also the conversations that we have once a week. They just a time for me, time to talk about what I've done and what I'm going to do in the future. And I find that really useful as well. So it's just so easy to follow. So the thing I like most about Nick and Ryan is their genuine enthusiasm for what they do. You can tell that they really want people to achieve the most that they can achieve. They come into every meeting with such energy and just absolute joy when you start hitting your goals and exceeding them, and it just makes you feel so good about what you're doing. So I'd recommend Unstoppabl coaching. There's a couple of things that have happened to me since I've started the programme that have really stuck in my mind, and one of them, I went away to a dinner, and one of my colleagues was there, and she was just absolutely stunned by the change in me, and she hadn't seen me for quite a while. And she came up to me and said, you know, you look absolutely amazing, and it's not that you've lost weight, it's because you're so obviously fit. And that's the real difference, is that, you know, I've lost weight in the past, and you see other people lose weight, but it's the health that you've got with it. And that, I think, is the difference with what I've got from Unstoppabl. And the second thing that, you know, I go back to and think about is when I saw my sister at Christmas, and I hadn't seen her since I started the programme, and talked to her about what I was doing. And she says, oh, well, yeah, you can maybe learn something from a coach, and, you know, and then you can carry it on yourself. And I walked through the door and she went, wow. She says, that was quite an investment in yourself. And that was such a big thing, because she knew what I was doing, and she I don't know if she didn't think I'd achieve what I achieved, but she could see that how important it was and what a difference it had made to me. So, I mean, if you're undecided about working with Unstoppabl, what I would say is that it's going back to what my sister said to me. It's about an investment in yourself, and it's about a change permanently for the future. It's taking that time to actually work on yourself, and it to be a permanent change. I think that's the big thing, that, you know, it is an investment for your future. So my original fitness goals were basically to get back to where I was before, which is quite funny looking back on that now, because all I wanted to do was be able to start running and to be 9 stone 6. So, you know, to start running, to going and wanting to run half marathons, and, you know, like I say, my weight's secondary, but being 8 stone 4 is beyond what I ever thought it would be. But that isn't because we've consciously worked on getting down to 8 stone 4. It's just because my fitness has got me there. And actually it's the fitness and what I can do and how far I can run is, you know, the primary goal now, which is absolutely brilliant. It isn't a focus on weight, it's a focus on nutrition, it's a focus on running, and just being as healthy and energetic as I can be. So what's next for me? This is a funny question, because we started off where I was going to do 12 weeks, and then we eventually went back to the 16 weeks that Nick has suggested, and then it's ended up where I think we're probably on about week 25 now, and the running has become a big thing. I mean, it's great losing the weight, but that isn't a focus anymore. It's about continuing with the fitness, and now I just want to see where I can go with my running. And so this year that's coming up, I've already booked a 10K, a couple of half marathons, and we'll just see where that goes. But actually, what's next is just what can I achieve, and it's really exciting.